John Walker, Cansh Pope, absolutely a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
John, you are a legend in the field of where you shoot. Now, if you remember correctly, you're John Walker MBE,
yes.
And so I am honoured in not just obviously being with an MBE, but also being a gold medal winner. But not just one, but two.
Yeah.
So, John, I'm keen to obviously understand what you do. You are a paraplegic shooter. You have won 2 gold. Tell me, how did you get into this? Because it's a fascinating story.
Well, for me, it all starts back when 2011 when I had my RTA, road traffic accident.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a car cut the corner as I was going around the blind left-hander. So unlucky, I can't remember anything about that.
This was motorbike, yeah?
Yes, yeah. Oh, I had a nice Ducati that was absolutely destroyed.
Which one by any chance? 916?
748.
748, okay. It's all right.
In Carl Fox's colours.
Well, is there any other colour to have?
No, not really. But then I was watching I was recovering from my injuries after the accident. I was watching the 2012 Paralympics, and I saw a guy called Matt Stutzman.
Yeah.
And he was born with no arms and shoots with his feet. And I just thought to myself, well, I'm very good at problem solving. I wonder if I can do this one-handed. And that's where the initial happened for archery, but just literally to see if I could do it. And then I got shooting. I just wanted to do it just to have something to do.
Yep.
But then I realised I was very, very good at it, and I thought, oh, hang on a minute, I wonder if I can do this to a very high level. So within 3 years, I had gone from no one to a European champion with a mixed team with my teammate Jo Frith, and I also won the World Championships with her.
Fantastic.
My very first goal, got an individual silver.
Yeah.
And then just before Rio, I took out the world #1 in his home country.
And where was that?
That was in 2016, just before Rio. I took him out in the quarterfinals in big style in the rain.
If you're going to do it, you do it proper.
Oh,
job.
absolutely, yeah. And that's where I won my first double gold medals. And I thought, well, if I can do it here, I've got to be able to do this in Rio.
Yeah.
We got to Rio, and I was watching the golf extremely very closely, watching the 20s, watching the games.
Yep.
And the golf was very, very close to where the archery field was. And I could see that when I worked offshore, the wind changed with the tide, and lo and behold, it was exactly the same situation out there. So I knew my final was going to be in the afternoon. Well, that was when the wind was at its worst.
Right.
So my ranking round, I always like to, in archery, like to rank within the top 10, so a bit more of a cleaner path through in the head-to-heads.
Yeah.
And I think I finished in about 8th place, I think, in the rankings. And I then didn't shoot again until towards the end of the Paralympics.
Right.
So I had a very long time to be able to train to get myself ready to go through. Well, for the first 3 days on the practice field, it was that windy. I thought, how the hell am I going to deal with this? So I was literally purposely drawing into the wind because I only had 20 seconds to release an arrow in the head-to-heads. Could load while the other shooter's loading, but I only had 20 seconds to release it. So for the first 3 days, I could have quite happily have thrown my bows down range because I just couldn't do anything in it. But then
literally moving target.
Exactly. My bow was all over the place. But after those 3 days, something just seemed to click in my brain, and I couldn't miss the gold. I just couldn't miss it.
Yeah.
So I had other people, all the fellow teammates that I had from all over the world come and shoot and train with me on my boss.
Yeah.
As soon as they saw where my arrows were, they would just leave. And then my thinking just changed. Well, I haven't got to beat them, they've now got to beat me because I really got them.
Totally, yeah.
And that's what happened. And it just felt so surreal when I was going through, because normally you have your major knockouts all together.
Yeah.
But in the Paralympics, that's completely different. So from the very beginning, you have your individual knockouts exactly the same as you would have in a final, which is completely different. And I just couldn't lose. It was such a surreal feeling, just going through these knockouts, and I'm thinking, what's going on? I just can't seem to...
It's your time.
Yeah, just can't seem to miss. And then it come up to the final with my friend David Ahinsky, who was world ranked #1 at that particular time. I had to win one of these gold medals to actually take his #1 place away from him. So it all come down to the last arrow. I had to shoot, already put in 2 10s. I needed a 9 or better to win. Right. And I finished my end on 3 10s.
You see that, but this is the thing, you know. It comes down to when I know it's completely different level it is, but when I was shooting at the Worlds, I engaged with a mind coach, and he was saying, right, Chris was saying that what you need to do is you don't have to just be okay. You've got to be in your head. You've got to have already won it. Yeah. And so I was going on to stages, going, yeah, come on, I'm going to do this. You know, I didn't win the stages, but by God, I came off that stage going, I have absolutely nailed this in my head. So emotionally and in every possible way, I knew I was going to be going forward. Yeah. But this is taking it to another level. So from there, so you've won your 2 goals in Rio. Yeah. So that was the individual and the team. Yeah. Where have you gone from there? Because
I knew that in W1 they're bringing out a new rule. Yeah. So they're bringing in core strength, and I knew that would be me out of my category in 2017, because after the World Championships they do reclassification for all the W1s. Right. So in 2017 I started shooting as a W2 in the next category up. So for the difference, for the viewers that don't know, in W1 you're restricted to 45 pounds maximum draw weight on a compound bow. Right. You have a recurve sight and no peep sight in the string. So you have no foresight whatsoever. So for me, it was, when I was learning, it was far more skillful to shoot as a W1, because all you had was your string blur against your eye, didn't have anything else to line up with. And then I swapped to open compound, which I knew was more technical. Yeah. So I'm allowed then to shoot the full 60 pounds, which you're allowed to shoot in open compound. I had my peep sight and I also had a Magna 5 scope. Right. And I started off world ranked 85th in the world, and I finished within less than 3 months. I finished world rank number 5. So 83 to 5. Yeah. In 3 months. In 3 months. These are numbers that people dream of. And I come away with a mixed team bronze medal, and we should have been in the gold medal final, but my equipment let me down. We were on for the world record, so I had to shoot a 10. But my release aid dropped off 3 times, so I literally had seconds to get an hour off, and unfortunately I landed in the 7. No. So this is the thing, when you're at that level, a 7 to a 10, it's what's going to completely. You know, we see it in the shooting as well. You know, you have your Charlie Alphas and your Deltas. Yeah. You drop a Charlie or a Delta, and that takes you. You're gonna have a great time, but no. But that's competition. That's sport. Totally. Yeah. So obviously from there you've now diversified. I think is that the right phrase? You realised you were quite good. But the lovely story about this is that. You and I have a similar background, and if I remember correctly, you're SEME. Yeah. We were discussing SEME, but obviously, so you're a Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineer. Yeah. Your background is obviously, you said, was problem solving. Yeah. But then you decided that you realised that when you went through SEME, with using iron sights, obviously with your rifle, you were achieving some pretty good groupings. Yeah. Now, obviously, that's now left you to now taking up another challenge, haven't you? Well, actually, rifle shooting is actually my preferred sport. I loved it when I was in the army. Yeah. But I always put off all the GB team. All used to train at Liddershall, where archery is done, and I always had to go through Sutherland Hall and ignore them, because I knew as soon as I picked up one of these rifles, I knew I would be hooked left, right, and centre. So for those 4 years, I put off picking up a rifle. But you still had that calling though, didn't you, inside you? I did, yes. Yeah. But then it was after, when I was trying to retransition after the reclassification in archery, that I turned back to rifle shooting. Right. That's when I then picked up a rifle to keep my head in a good place. Yeah. I still wanted to hit the middle of the target. Totally, yeah. So I picked up a rifle and started doing that. But then I realised that I am very good at doing this, and I got injured in archery. Right. So then I decided to retire from archery and take up rifle shooting full time, which I've now joined Richard Bray on the talent team. I actually got on the talent team within less than a month of me shooting. So I was absolutely over the moon with that. But now I'm on the road to hitting the scores I now need to hit to get onto the world class programme. Okay. And so what's your time scale, would you say, from for the next Olympics? How long do you think for you to be able to get to where you want to be able to then to peak at exactly the right time? It's possible for me to go to Tokyo. Okay. But it's going to be extremely difficult. Right. I've got to hit scores of 632. Right. To get in as an R5. So those scores are really high. I'm hitting scores. Where are you at the moment? I'm in the 620s. Okay. So I'm not too far away, but in order to get to the 632 is going to be, I know it's going to be very hard work.
Okay.
So my really realistic goal is to get myself to Paris.
Okay.
But I do have a very, very slim chance of getting to Tokyo.
Well, but that's all it takes. It takes that chance where something, and it's an awful thing to say, but something may go wrong with somebody else.
Exactly.
Some circumstances will change.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there you are in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we realise you're using a Walther. Take us through your rifle. What is so special about your rifle in comparison to a normal rifle, John?
Well, for me, for my disability, I had to look at different makes of rifle to see what would best suit me.
Right.
But it was the Walther straight out of the box. I can have it left or right-handed action, which there isn't another 2.2 on the market you can do that with. So for me, for the way I shoot, because of my disability in my right arm, I can still use my hands, but my upper arm doesn't work anymore. Okay. So as an archer, I used to pull a ball in my lap, off my release aid on my shoulder. So I chose this rifle so I could have it set up left-handed with a left-handed bolt, but my rounds will eject to the right.
Okay.
Which is so unique with the Walther. And plus it was also with the movement of the back end of the rifle, so I could get it to fit me properly. Yes. Which is also one of the great problems that I had. So I chose the KK 500 just purely for those reasons. And the air rifle I shot was the LG 400. But then at the beginning of this year, Walther brought out the Monotech stock, which had the exact same movable rear end as the KK 500. So as soon as they brought that out and I knew to bring that out, I contacted Germany, found a shop in Germany that was willing to ship a stock over to me. So my action from the LG 400 just slipped straight into it. Yeah. So I can make it very, very similarly to my 2.2. Brilliant. So for me, it gave me a bit more of an advantage over most other shooters where they have two separate rifles. I either shoot a Bleicher or Walther or anything like that as their rifles. Then their air rifles, they don't really have that much of a choice with. Whereas me, I can shoot exactly the same as I shoot with an air rifle as with a 2.2. So that's the main reasons why I chose Walther.
One of the things which obviously with you being the level of shooter you are, which is in an echelon that only other shooters would ever dream of getting to, what top tips would you give to people who aspire to want to get higher and chase dreams?
That's one of the things I'm really pleased with in SRA. They do have the postal competitions, which is, I think, is a very good way for people to generally get started at club level. Excellent. And then progress up from there. So from there you then go to the talent. British Shooting do ask you to come forward if you've got the talent to see what may be good enough to go forward to get onto the talent program. And now they have 4-step process now, which has changed. So it's new this year. I'm on the 2nd step, but now people initially coming through get on the 1st step, and if they progress from that, they then get onto the talent team, which is where I am at the moment. And then they have the national team and then the world-class program. So once you get on the national program, you're actually training with the world-class program athletes. Brilliant. So I'm literally just that far away to get into that level of shooting.
That's all it takes, is that sometimes, doesn't it? We're saying it as a change of circumstances, right place, right time. But at the end of the day, you need raw talent, and this is something which you obviously have bundles of and tons of it. Now, coming obviously from archery to shooting 2.2 rifle, what skills do you say you've brought from one to t'other to be able to help you continue being so strong? Well, there's two places that shooting is exactly the same as archery, and that is mentally, it's identical. Okay. The pressures on you are identical. With any target sport, but where it's actually completely different is in shooting you are rigid. So you need good muscle mass to draw the bow, to stay still in position, whereas shooting you've got to be completely and utterly relaxed. That part is completely different, and plus for me in archery, in order to come down and retake a shot, that just wouldn't happen. Because it's so painful to bring a compound bow down from 60 pound down to nothing, it just snatches back at you, and it really does hurt. So I'm gradually getting through to my subconscious that if it doesn't feel right, to come down, reset and go again. That's one of the hardest lessons I'm trying to get through to my subconscious, is to do that naturally. It's getting there slowly. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? And the fact is, do you dry drill at home as well? I do, yes. You do, okay. I think there are a lot of people who undervalue the dry drilling at training at home. And they
Yeah.
just think it's, I'll go to the range and I'll go and do this.
Yeah.
It's the hours of subconscious, of muscle memory,
Yeah.
of drills and
Yeah.
practice at home, which goes towards that finished product when you go onto a
Yeah.
range and actually pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And that's just the bits at the end where you, and even though it's an important part, it's
Yeah.
all those steps all the way up to
Yeah.
it that makes all the difference.
Yeah, but then it's just through repetition and
Yeah.
progress of getting through that. So it's mainly having the right people to aspire to.
Yeah.
And just by chance, I just happened to stumble into the right people along my pathway in shooting.
Yeah.
So I joined Rouge Rifle Club, which is where Martin Buttery, who works for Ely.
Yeah.
So he helped me from there. He was my first coach. From there, I then got onto the talent team. So now I have Diana Coates. She's my shooting coach now, and she's won umpteen Paralympic medals. She's actually won more medals for Great Britain than anyone.
Now, the thing which I'm loving about with what you said here earlier on is that you've got your golds from your archery.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you're striving to get the gold in the shooting as well.
Yeah.
What is it you're searching for? There's one thing you want, isn't it, here? What is that?
I want to be the best marksman Britain's ever had. So I want to win medals in every single shooting discipline.
Brilliant.
So I'll sign off a rifle 2 to an air rifle.
Yeah.
I then progress on to pistol.
Man, you're setting yourself some good goals there. Okay.
And also hoping that they then get to skeet into the Paralympics.
Right.
And there's a category with one-armed skeet, so I also want to have a go at doing that as well.
Jesus, are you going to be through enough? How old are you now then?
I am 48.
This man's hungry. And do you know what? I, on behalf of Gunroom.tv, John, I cannot tell you how privileged we are to have you here with us today.
Thank you.
At the Tactical Show.
It's my pleasure.
And the most important thing here is that people will watch this and they'll see the success you've had, what you've achieved, the fact that you may be in a wheelchair, you may have lost the power in your arms, and you've had a horrific accident, but it's not stopping you from achieving your goals, and that's
one of my biggest messages. Is no matter how much you think something can't be done, anyone can achieve anything they set their mind to.
Yeah.
It's just having the vision up here to progress and pull through it.
Well, do you know, anybody watching this is going to be truly inspired and hungry to follow on. People will usually find excuses. There is never an excuse.
There's no excuse.
It's been an absolute pleasure and an absolute honour to interview you and have you with us today at Gunroom TV. So thank you so much for stopping by, mate.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.